Okay, we are in Mishna Berura, we're in Siman Reish Nun Beis, and we're on Sif Gimel. This is what we ended with yesterday. So we'll start with the Shulchan Aruch over here. Shulchan Aruch says, "V'im haisa malacha mefursemes v'yadua shehi shel Yisrael v'oisa oisa b'makom mefursem." Okay, so now we're talking about over here. Let's say if the malacha that's being done, the work over here that the Jew is doing, the work over here rather that the Jew is giving to the person who isn't Jewish to do, let's say it's publicized and it's known that it's the Jew involved over here. And the person who isn't Jewish is doing it in a public place. Tov lahachmir v'lasim. So it's good to be stringent and prohibit that type of work and to allow him to do that work on Shabbos. Okay? So comes along the Mishnah Berurah over here. There's a short one. Chav Daled. The oiros la'avdam v'kelim l'koybitz. Talk about if you're giving skins to be tanned, or if you're giving garments to be laundered or dry cleaned. Stomam ein yadua shuhu shel Yisrael. It's assumed we don't know if it belongs to the Jew or not, so therefore that would be okay. V'alkin afilu imhu ma'avid v'koybitz makom galui ein limchos bi'adu kishakatzos. And therefore, even if a person is tanning or laundering in a place which is completely exposed, one does not need to protest this situation if you set a set amount for the set price for the laundry, whatever it is, to be done, the dry cleaning. But if it was known that the work belongs to a Jew, and also you're doing it in a place which is completely exposed, so you need to protest that person that it should not be done on Shabbos. Because someone who sees this is not going to know that it was done for a set amount, and you might suspect him of being a hired worker for the day, which would be more of a problem. A lot of the reasons why some of these ideas are a little foreign to us is because we skipped Reish Mem Gimel to Reish Mem Zayin. But you see over here that you could be more lenient if it was kotzos, kitzitza, if it was a set amount. If it was getting paid by the job as opposed to paid for the whole day. Vayin Sham look over there in Sifei, according to the Shulchan Aruch, that's the Shulchan Aruch Sham, the Medina Aser Bazeh, Mikra Adina would be prohibited from the letter of the law. Vayin Sham Berura Halacha Dibra Maskal Dina, look at the Berura Halacha over there. V'yadua Shehi, this is talking about the Shulchan Aruch that said that when the person who isn't Jewish is performing the work, it's known that it belongs to the Jew. V'ayin Sham Siv Daled, look over there in Siv Daled. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Ulafiza. According to this, Hachalukim Shenikarim Shehim Shel Yisrael. Let's say you have garments and it's recognizable that it belongs to a Jew. Ve'ena Yehudi Mekabson Al Gav Hanar Shub Mokum Galui Meforsim. So the fellow over here who isn't Jewish, he's going to launder these items by the river, by the lake, which is a place which is completely exposed in public. So you need to protest that person when he sees it happening on Shabbos. But the Tosefet Shabbos says there's no problem over here about suspicion. The lo noda shalmihu, we don't know who it belongs to. So you have a discussion in this scenario. It seems like the Mishnah Berura is going with the lenient approach if you don't know who the item belongs to. So I know what someone's going to ask. So let's say someone's name tag is in it. Yeah, but no one's checking the name tag, right? So you don't know exactly who it belongs to.
I mean, yeah, plus the fact nowadays this isn't happening in a
Yeah,
lot.
yeah, yeah, it's not in the public lake anyways, yeah. The Chayodam Hekel Bazel Oid Mitam Acher. The Chayodam is lenient with this for another reason. The Kavan Shiadua Shemino Kol Bnei Yerlitin Kelim Lakoibitz Bekalbano. Since it's known that the custom of the whole city is to give garments to the person doing laundry, the kablanos is a set price for it. Even if the fellow isn't Jewish, is laundering it in a public area, it's permissible. The aim bazeh chashada mishum schir yom. There's no suspicion over here because of that he's getting paid by the day. He's not getting paid by the job, so it's fine. Kasus in Reishmem Gimel Sebeis Vuadin Kol Hakelim Shederech Liyitna B'Kablanis. It says over there, and the same halacha applies with all garments, where the norm is to give it in kablanis, that there's a set price. Ve'ein isra bazeh ela kisha oisa bebeis Yisrael d'sham la mahani shum heder. There's no prohibition with this except for when you're going to do it in the Jewish house. Then that wouldn't be permissible. K'moshe just happened in Lamala, Sif Yadain, as it's explained in Simon, Sif Yadain over there. That's the idea. So, yeah, this is the story. Um, yeah, there's a bear halacha in Tov. This small bear halacha says it's good to be stringent and prohibited. This is talking about if it's being done on Shabbos, you need to protest, even if it's a set amount. But lechatchila, preferably you're allowed to give it, even from the beginning, from the onset, you're allowed to give it, and you don't need to worry that it's going to be done on Shabbos. But the Pri Megadim says if you know for sure that it's going to be done on Shabbos in a public area, that would be a problem. Unless you're not sure if it's going to be done on Shabbos. The Dirshu, Mishna Berura, okay, in the previous Sif, um, in footnote 9, they said if you're going to give your car to a mechanic, Shal Shuvas Or Letzion Chelik Beis Perik Tez Zayin Tshuva Gimel says permissible, even though you know he's going to fix it on Shabbos. As long as you don't explicitly tell him that you want to pick it up right after Shabbos. And like I said yesterday, there's a video on the car playlist about that. There's some other sources and ideas. Short one, 4 or 5 minutes or something. This is Siv Gimel, Siv Dalid. Kol Shekatzatz. As long as you set a set price. Afal pi shiaseh hine Yehudi malacha b'Shabbos. Even though the fellow isn't Jewish, is going to be performing prohibited acts on Shabbos, malacha, something that we're not allowed to do. Mutter li Yisrael l'ilba shakli b'Shabbos atzmo. It's permissible for the Jew to wear this garment on Shabbos itself. The kol shekatzotz, as long as you set a price, adaise denafshi cover. There it is. It's with his own intent that he's doing it. There's a well-known actuality. There's a well-known strategy that employees like using, which is if I'm getting paid by the hour, why should I work harder? No one's going to check what I'm doing to finish it earlier. I'm just going to get more work.
Mhm.
Let me take it easy. I'll do less. I'm getting paid by the hour. Construction worker, let's say he's getting paid by the hour. Horse went out. Why would I rush it? Slow it down. Take a longer lunch break. Quick power nap. Quick phone chill. Whatever it is, we know the strategy. Problem is that it's us. Because the person getting paid expect to do a set amount. Now, if he has a good manager or a good boss, he'll come along and say, no, that doesn't take 2 hours to get done. It takes more like 2 minutes. So what were you doing for the other hour and 58 minutes? All right, fine. So, but if a worker is getting paid by the job, he's not going to schlep the thing out. He's going to say, let's get this over with and get out of here. So I could go make more money somewhere else, so I could go do whatever else I want. So that's a dice I did not actually covered. That's kotzotz. When it's a set amount on a project, that's fine because he's getting a set amount. No one told him to do it on Shabbos itself. That's what the Shulchan Aruch over here is saying. The whole shaila now, it's using the internet when you're at work for non-work activities and the computer and all these things, and you got to know what your boss allows. Kol shekatzotz u'ba'ofen shelo haya aser be'anasina. And in a way that if it wasn't prohibited with the giving. Shayab is a gamkin shar prat mishsarach l'katzitza. The other details over here regarding katzitza, the kanizka of Siv Beis, as is discussed in Siv Beis. This is talking about the way that you are going to give the fellow who isn't Jewish the job. What this means, the Old Zvahadam Mishna Berura footnote Pevav explains, you can't tell him to do the work on Shabbos itself, like we said before. Furthermore, it can't be done in the Jewish person's house. So we discussed in the previous sif. Afal P, even though, next one, even though that he's going to do it on Shabbos itself. Velo dami lamashim. Don't compare this to what it says in Siman Reishai and Vav, Sif Aleph in the Ramah. The Ini Yehudi shehidlak haner b'shvil Yisrael. Someone who isn't Jewish lights a candle for someone who is Jewish. Afilu imhaya. Oh, shalom. So he's lighting the candle for someone just Jewish. Afilu imhaya alidei ketzitza aser leishtamish lora. Even if it was for a set amount that he was going to be paid, it's prohibited to benefit from that light, to use that light. So what's the difference between there and over here? Over here will be okay, over there will be a problem. Tahacha. Over here, afal gav shall Yisrael nene b'levi shaso imel malach Shabbos, even though the Jew gets pleasure from wearing the garment because of an act that was done on Shabbos. Nevertheless, the fellow wasn't Jewish. He didn't do the work on Shabbos for the pleasure of the Jew. He just did it with his own intention, to be quick to finish the act. Which is not so over there. Hadla kosoi b'Shabbos hay kadesh yishtamish bo Yisrael achshav. When he lit the candle for the Jewish person on Shabbos, his intention was in order that the Jew benefits from that right now on Shabbos. That's why it would be prohibited. The Sha'ar Tzion says something insightful over here. The Sha'ar Tzion in Chav Beis says, this is Hainu afilu im hisachsein ha-Yisrael bebeis Shleina Yehudi. This is talking about even if the Jew is in the non-Jewish person's house. The bebeis Yisrael balav hachi lo imahani katzitza. Because in the Jewish person's house, it wouldn't even help if there was a set amount. The inside over here, even if it's in the person's house who isn't Jewish, Lafiza accordingly. Gam be'inyanin, also in our case. Im ha'Yisrael amar la'ini Yehudi samachacha sheikha medua lo gamarta melachasi. If the Jew is going to tell the person who isn't Jewish, near the time of dark, why didn't you complete the work that I appointed you to do? V'heshiv lo, and then he's going to answer, esezos, aman chabashavos, don't worry, I'll do tomorrow on Saturday. Tells the Jew. Einachanami da afilu das machaber also alav shabashabes kemo gabiner. Then yes, even according to the Shulchan Aruch, it will be prohibited to wear that garment just like by the Nair, because you know for a
To
fact.
wear just that Shabbos or any Shabbos?
Could be any Shabbos, because it could be Ma'aser Shabbos.
Is there a Kadeshi Yai b'mezid? But we hold b'mezid, we hold by one man that says lo lamas.
I think so. It's Shinir Chas. Could be a problem. It's done on purpose. Pretty sure. Yeah. Comes the Ramah and says, V'yesh oisin lalavsho. Some prohibit wearing this. Some prohibit wearing this kol shiadua sha'ena Yehudi gemara b'Shabbos. Some prohibit wearing this as long as you know that the person who isn't Jewish completed this on Shabbos itself. There's a Kadesh Yasa. You need to wait after Shabbos the amount of time that it takes to
Clean it, no?
clean the garment, whatever it is, deal with the garment. And this is the custom lechatchila, preferably. Unless you need it for Shabbos, then you could be lenient. Oops, sorry about that. You need to wait to use it until the amount of time it would take to do this. And this is the custom to be stringent, those v'hadar, lechatchila, not to get pleasure from something that was done on Shabbos in a prohibited way. Unless you need it on Shabbos. V'im yesh litlois shenigmar b'erev Shabbos mutar b'kol inyan. If you could assume that this garment was fixed before Shabbos came in, permissible to wear it on Shabbos in all cases. Normal continues, but let's go to the Mishna Berura before. We will start with Yesh Oisin. Taimam, what's the reasoning? The Aser la Yisrael la Hanos b'malacha b'Shabbos kol gavne kimishuk kol makom nasim malacha b'shul. Right. It's prohibited for a Jew to benefit from work that was done on Shabbos, since it was done for him on his behalf. Meaning, even if there was kitzitza of those v'hadar heads, even if it was a set amount for the job, it's still going to be a problem. B'kadei sheyasa, kadei shelo yohanim malacha Shabbos, in order that a person will not benefit from work that was done on Shabbos. It's very interesting when the Beis Yosef quotes this in the name of the Rokeach. He said this halacha has no reasoning because there was no sin that was done on Shabbos itself. Interesting point.
The guy works on it, it's not considered a sin.
Right, that's
Even on
what I'm
Shabbos.
saying. It's an interesting idea that he's saying. I thought it would be a problem. So like let's see. Comes along the Mishna Berura. Lafiza accordingly. בשני ימים טובים שגלויוס אם עשה הנה יהודי בראשון מותר בתחילת יום שמקדש יעשה מה נפשך. תים היום ראשון קודש השני חל ואם היום ראשון חל בוועדי מותר. Mhm. Let's say you have a 2 day yontif, like what we have in Chutz La'aretz over here. So let's say if the person who wasn't Jewish did the work on the first day. Well, that's your phone that keeps doing
That thing,
microwaves on. No,
I think my breath smell.
no, it's just got these.
Super sure. Okay.
No. Accordingly, let's say you have a 2 day yontif. Yeah. So let's say if the person who wasn't Jewish did it on the first day, it's permissible on the second day now. If you wait, either way, if the first day is holy and the second day is weekday, so then fine, you're good. If the first day was weekday, for sure you're good. It's no difference if it was done because of you or for someone else. Tell your rabbi is lenient if it was done from someone else on a set amount. Okay, keep moving. Again, we're not going to drag these out. These are not as applicable. We're just going to move. If you could assume that it was done Erev Shabbos, you're good. Though yesh matir mekolin, and some permit this in all cases. Vim hayam menal mesukon ve'erev. Erev Shabbos, Rashi tiknu ve'echil b'Shabbos. Let's say your shoe. The truth of the matter was it was fixed on Erev Shabbos, but you fixed it more, and you hechliku is like you polished it. I think it means you shined it, you smoothed it out. So then, shari da yachalav shablo hachi. That's permissible because you were able to wear it even without this. Kemoshe Kosev, as it's discussed in Simon Gimel Sefal from the Haggah in Daled. Okay. Uadin, the same halacha applies. Ki pishon shenos min Yehudi tachas machveish Shabbos sharigan v'tam. The same halacha applies. If you've cleat pishton, which is a garment made out of flax, you give someone who wasn't Jewish and you put it under the press on Shabbos. So that would also be permissible because of the same reasoning over here. He was enhancing it. The idea over here is that he was enhancing it. It was really ready to be used, but he was making it even better. So therefore, since it was technically fit to be worn, that's going to be okay. Same applies with the Kli Pishtan. It was ready to be worn, but now it's going to be pressed. It's going to be nicer. Let's take a look at the Ramah, where we left off. Okay, this is letting me zoom in. There you go. The Ramah comes along and says, "V'dafka im shigir lo ha'ina Yehudi lebeisoi, aval also likach kelim beis ha'umon b'Shabbos v'yom tov." This is specifically talking about sending it to the clothing to the person who is in Jewish's house. But it's prohibited to take the clothing from his house on Shabbos and Yom Tov. That's obvious. You can't bring back your clothing that you have. You can't pick up your clothing on Shabbos, even if it was prepaid. That I think is an obvious halacha.
They deliver it.
They deliver it. You can't. It's like a package. You can't leave it out there if you're afraid someone's going to steal it. You kick it in. You can't bring it in regularly.
There's a
Another
There's
problem.
a
Erev. Yeah, what that?
no, there's a store owned by Asians, below, like almost below us, on our block. They work on Shabbos. They have the gate, half closed, and you could see this how this could be lamaisa. If someone needs something, the store is open. If you were to just pick it up, you could technically just go in.
Right, so that's definitely a problem. Just saying,
But it's in a Yiddish neighborhood. I'm saying they don't like their whole clientele is all it's all Yidden,
Jewish. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
but they're there.
yeah. So, Rama reads like this. Yeah, so that's going to be the Rama. This that we say that you're allowed to wear clothing on that Shabbos if it was finished when you need to wear it. That's specifically if they sent it to you, meaning you didn't go to his house to pick up the clothing. However, it's prohibited to go to the person who isn't Jewish to his house to take your clothing on Shabbos and Yom Tov. It's prohibited. The Oz V'Hadar Mishnah Berura in footnote pay test quotes a very interesting idea, short idea. Quotes from the Sefer Menorah HaTahora, who says that if a Jewish person, check out this leniency, prepaid for dry cleaning or something and went into the dry cleaners, picked it up. If you already did it, you're allowed to wear it.
The Evan?
Yep. And they didn't knas you, you weren't fined. Talk about a tremendous leniency, eh?
Who's knassing him up the
Yeah, you would have thought.
level?
I say Shabbos, whatever. You would have thought. Comes along the Mishnah Berura and Lamed Aleph, Likach Kalim. ואפילו יודע ודאי שנגמור קודם Shabbos ויום טוב, ואפילו אם הוא לצורך Shabbos, even if you know for sure that it was finished before Shabbos and Yom Tov, and even if it's needed for Shabbos, definitely you should definitely not be picking that up at time, and the reason isn't Behimar Zion. We're gonna look at you. They're not gonna know Yom Rosh Shabbos Asal. They're gonna say that the work was done for this on Shabbos. Umedas Yisrael, and it was done with the Jews' knowledge. Visi Levush, it says in Levush that Filu im lo yaviem biyadu elu yabishim misham bezeini Yehudim gam ginos mintam said. Levush says even if you're not going to carry the clothing out, you're going to actually wear them out. It's also prohibited. V'kosav Magen Avraham after that Filu al yedayinu Yehudi also laviu duvim lecholu. Magen Avraham writes that it's possible that even if you're going to get someone who isn't Jewish to pick up your clothing, that's going to be a problem because that's considered a weekday type of activity. The Sharat Zion and Kaf Ches down here says, even though I saw in the Aliyah Rabbah and the Cheb and Moshe that are lenient, if someone who isn't Jewish picks it up, there are other Achronim that say that it's prohibited. That's the Mamar Mordechai, the Gon Rizalman, that's the Shulchan Aruch Rav, the Shulchan Shlomo. Mamar Mordechai and the Graz hold it's Marasayin. The base of Uman Vein Chilik Bein Yisrael and Yehudi. There's no difference whether the worker is Jewish or not. We would have thought that maybe if you're picking up clothing from another Jew and the other Jew did it, this concern of Marasayan is inapplicable. You're not going to say the other Jew worked on the garment on Shabbos. Nevertheless, it's still going to be a problem. She'ina Yehudi Gemara. Some don't allow you to wear it. The Be'er Halacha says the Davka Imu Malacha Daraisa, Aval Malacha Darabanin Lahachmir. It's talking about specifically if it's a malacha that's from the Torah, you're not allowed to do an act from the Torah. But if it's rabbinic, you don't need to be stringent. This is going on the Ramah that said if you know that the fellow wasn't Jewish, did it on Shabbos. If you know, Be'er halacha is differentiating between the type of malacha that was done. You're not allowed to pick it up from the base uman on Shabbos. Let's take a look at the Be'er halacha. The Shabbos v'Yom Tov. V'im ene Yehudi ma'amino sheyunoch etzlo ad lachar Shabbos. V'im eno, excuse me, ma'amino sheyunoch etzlo ad lachar Shabbos. Let's say you don't trust him,
You could buy him.
right? That he's going to leave it for him until after Shabbos. So the Be'er halacha says, Nira, im gam hu sarach labegel sarach Shabbos yisach b'aseh she'aviu b'sin l'toch beisu. So in that scenario, you could be lenient. You could be lenient that he could bring it to you privately into your house. In that specific case, let's go back to the Ramah. V'kol ze b'kelim sha'asal Yisrael. These are all talking about garments that were tended to and that were cared for, that were dry cleaned for the Jew. Avalena Yehudi shoysim min alayim al mekach. But let's say you have someone who isn't Jewish. He's just making shoes. Once upon a time, they didn't have factories and they would have to do it by hand. So he's making a shoe just to sell, or he's making something to sell. Mutter Yisrael hamakiru leilach likach imenu b'Shabbos u'lena'alim abilvad shaloi yiksois imo dmei mekach. Technically speaking, it would be permissible for the Jew who recognizes him to go and take from him on Shabbos itself and to wear it. As long as you didn't set a set amount.
We talk about a shoe store here that you just walk in and pick up a pair of shoes.
Seems like he's buddies with the owner. And he's just coming in and he's saying, like, he already knows before. He has a tab. Let's say he prepays, whatever. It's fine.
Hmm.
If it wasn't for him.
What do you mean it wasn't for him, then not open for him?
I'll make this relevant. You have the like a quick pick. You know what those things are?
What, like the Lotto?
Yeah, those types of stores, they're like a 7-Eleven type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's near him, he goes there often.
Yes, tab.
And he prepays. He says, just put it on my tab. He
That
just,
is being prepaid in a tab, no?
whatever, same idea. He's friendly enough with the owner that he
That you could take it and
whatever,
so take it later.
or he prepays. Let's say I like to prepay better, but the tab he lets that fly. And then at the end he just pays instead of paying $5 here, $3 here. It's whatever. I don't need all the change and everything.
It's on credit.
So I mean, technically, you could go in there on Shabbos, right? As long as it's that stipulated the price. Problem if you are handling with him, you're going back and forth on the price. That's gonna be a problem. Look, halakhically, should a person do that? That's something else. But halachically, is it prohibited? Could very well be permissible. Mishna Berura Lamed Gimel. Make that Lamed Daled shorter. I'm getting a little intimidated by that long one. Hainu shelo yazkir lo schum dam. You don't mention the amount of money it costs. If that wouldn't be so, if you would mention the money, that would be considered mekachu memcher, which means like buying and selling or doing business, which would be prohibited, even though you didn't mention a set amount. That would be prohibited. Even though you're not paying him right now on Shabbos, it would still be a problem. Some people you just want to do business with them. You just want to buy from them because you feel comfortable with them that they're not going to give you a bad price. So you don't really care the price because you're assuming that he's going to give you a good price anyways based on his reputation before and the way that you've dealt with him. You know he does great work and he gives you a good price. You don't even care about the price. Mishna Berura Gimel. He's doing it with his own mind on Shabbos, his own intention. He's doing it not to sell to you, it's for other people. ואיס דאבה מבייס האומה נסביר לרמה דלוי שייך בזה אף שהוא הולך אצל משום דכיוון שכל יודעים שהיינו יהודה רגל לעשות לעצמם בשביל מקח תולך משום הר זין שיאמר שסיבה לא לעשות some. What about we said before, you're not allowed to go to the craftsman's house, the person who's in Jewish, to pick up the garment that was already dry cleaned. What about that, Rama? It doesn't apply over here. Everyone knows that he's doing it to sell, not specifically to you. Therefore, there's no problem. People are going to look at you. They're going to say, "Oh, you told him to do it for you on Shabbos." No, your dry, clean clothing, that was for you. This is for everyone. והמגן אברהם, מושר הרבה אחרונים, מכל כל דבר וסיר להו, תגם בזה אסר, לילך אצל, ויקח ממנו כמוי, משאר אומן. אלו, מאחר שהביא לבייס ישראל, מותר לאו שאת מסתם עליו הדעת, ישראל לעבדים אומני, יושבו ממני יהודים כמו שכסף. סימן טוב קופטס, ואהב. Magen Avram and other Achronim, they argue completely on this. Sha'ar Tzion Lamed quotes a few other Achronim. They argue completely on this. Usfirlu, and they hold the Gam B'zel Aser. Leilech Eitzel V'likach Mimenu. Kimo Mishar Uman. Also, in this case, also, it's prohibited to go and take from him. You can't go into that 7-Eleven, even if you have a tab. You can't do that. The only way it's permissible is if he brought it to your house. Then you could wear the garment, then you could be involved. Because we're assuming that he didn't do it with the intention of the Jew. If it was a city that was mainly people who weren't Jewish. If the person who's in Jewish is a chenvani, like a shop owner, but he's not a craftsman, it's possible you could be lenient. And even so, Sefer Shabbos, the Prima Godim, they say you can't do this because this is a week-like activity. So therefore, the whole tab situation is certainly not preferable.
Makes it weak like he's going to get food. Owning Shabbos.
Owning Shabbos, yeah, but going into a store and everything, that's in the whole. That's a week-like activity. I think I took a picture of it. There was a really nice lumdus, which I'm happy, so I didn't take a picture. Okay, tomorrow we're going to discuss. There's a really nice lumdus. If I'm not mistaken, I saw quoted from the Kilkala de Shabbos. I think the Dershu quoted of the different qualities, 3 different qualities that something needs to have to be considered uvdin dechol. Because or else you could just say, "Oh, weak like activity, weak like," no. There's 3 qualities. So he's gonna go into that. We're gonna have to discuss that a little bit more because it's uvdin dechol. Yeah. Good stuff. All right, this is a little tedious but it's still somewhat applicable. Okay, so tomorrow we will continue with Sifhei. Yeah?
Shkoa.
And
Very good. Good timing. Less than a minute left.
Go.
Indeed.
Oh, it says how much time's left?
Yeah, you look on the bottom of the screen, it says less than 1 minute. It doesn't say the seconds, it only says minutes.
I know, but it doesn't say it. Devin can't see
You
that.
can't see that?
I don't
Oh, it's not screen share with you?
I don't have that feature.
You don't have that feature. If you come in person, you'll have the feature. But
We
then
wouldn't need it.
the Zoom. I'll still do the Zoom for the recording, even though it records the video isn't as good. It's not as clear on Zoom. But I like it because it automatically puts it in a folder
Yeah,
and it's all organized.